Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cast 9 in the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. My name is Guile, and I'd like to start this one by saying a quick word on behalf of the pilot. It's not exactly at his behest, but I'm going to say it anyway. Please, 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 guys, remember that FAF is in beta, so it really is everybody's responsibility to beta test and to fill out bug reports and give the guy a hand, because basically it is one guy doing all of the work, the coding for FAF, and not only that, he's also making balance changes to the game at the same time. So it really does, require all of us to let him know when something's wrong, send those logs in, but don't just take my word for it. Please, there's a very good post on the forums about what you need to do to make his life easier. So go over there, read that, and help the guy out, because he really is putting a lot of work in, and it's all in his free time, obviously, because he does have a full-time job as well. I hope you guys all had a good weekend. I certainly did. I caught a little bit of the Imber Cup sectionals, of which we have the winner here in this one, Nefarious, who is very mysterious as well. No one can seem to work out who he is. Basically, the pros, all of the invited crew, think that there's a slight bit of mischief afoot because he was playing far too well to be an ordinary Joe. No one had heard of him before, and he came up and he was actually undefeated in the sectionals. So this is actually going to be a practice match between him and Lu Xun on what is going to be the first round map. Very unusual pick, Crossfire Canal, and personally I love this pick. It's amazing. It's a really good map for Phantom games, but not only that, it's a large map. There's lots of mass, there's sea, there's very defensible positions on these hills, so you can't just come in with Navy and pummel someone to death, because these places really offer too much cover. As you can see, lots of cliffs surrounding your basic starting position. So yeah, really looking forward to it, and it definitely will offer some interesting opportunities for tech advances and experimental weapons. This bomber here from Nefarious coming out nice and early, but not really doing much of anything. But like I say, there is some speculation as to the identity of Nefarious, and some players even speculating that there might be a little bit of foul play going on, i.e. it may be a ult of somebody who's already on the invitational side of the tournament. And if that's the case, that could be a problem, obviously, because you can't, apart from the fact that it's a little cheeky, you obviously would have trouble if they got to the same bracket and ended up playing themselves. I'm not going to name who the speculation is, but obviously this account will get banned. Lu Xun will have to enforce that, as he is the tournament organizer. I will be uploading, by the way, some of the footage from the sectionals a little bit later. As I say, not quite as high caliber play as we are likely to see in this one, so I won't be doing all of the matches, not least because I think there were somewhere in the region of like 38 matches or something, or maybe 40 matches, so I'm definitely not going to attempt to cast all those. But there were definitely some interesting ones, so I will pull some of those out of the hat a little bit later. Let's bump this one up to +2. But yeah, some very interesting commentary as well went out for the sectionals. If you didn't watch it, please go and have a check. You can see it on the Supreme Commander Twitch TV channel, which the pilot set up, and there's some nice commentary of the live casts, or what was the live casts, down there with Gowley, and TA for Life did a very nice job of covering that. I believe it took about 4 hours when they thought it was going to take about 2, so yeah, hats off to them. As you see, both players getting that early air factory out, getting some early work on the interceptors and bombers. Lu Xun favouring an early air transport, whereas it looks like Nefarious is just going to leave his engineers to do the trundle off to the side islands. But looks like Nefarious is looking for a very air-heavy play here. He's not been producing that many aircraft to start, but he has gone for 3 air factories to open with, and as opposed to just the one for Lu Xun, who's definitely behind on the factory production, but nevertheless has more early units out. And you can see some nice early bomber work coming from Lu Xun, who for the moment has air superiority, although that could change very, very soon. Now we have 3 interceptors on the field for Nefarious, trying to deny that early bomber his engineer kills, and that's going to go down. So slightly interesting play here. We can see Lu Xun's going to bring this transport right the way over to the left island, trying to make a grab for that before Nefarious can get over, but he is taking his commander across the pond, so it's going to be an interesting there. They're going to get a build up there first. That looks like it is only 2 engineers, but they should be able to get some factories up and some spam going before the commander makes any serious landfall, who's probably on his way up here. Let's see if there's an issue move command that we can see. Yeah, so he's just going to go straight up here and pick these mass off, as opposed to who's going straight for an early ground factory grab. So obviously aware of what the play is likely to be for Nefarious. And I had about 5 different people tell me that while this match was on that it was an exciting one. So I hope it lives up to what we expect. But you can definitely see why some people think there's some shadiness going on, because Lu Xun is obviously an exceptionally proficient player. And for a guy to be standing toe-to-toe to him, like Nefarious is apparently going to do in this one, it would leave you think, well, nobody gets that good that quickly at this game. But anyway, we shall see how the whole drama unfolds. So Nefarious just managing to make a grab on his right island, and obviously he's not going to have any idea of what's going on here, but the Lu Xun will have spotted this commander is currently circling him with the bomb. It does have radar up over here, and the question is, will Nefarious spot that something's up? No, he's going to continue the command. He's going to carry on building up, and he's going to stick 1 land factory in the middle of those mass points on the top of that hill. Lu Xun with a transport with 1 engineer. Will it get picked off or will it land is the question. No, deciding better of it. I think he should have just tried to land it. That was never going to get away. But 3 T1 engineers on the ground on the right island for Nefarious. Will he get this up is the question before this one lone hero Mantis manages to take them out. 1 down. 2 down. Oh, it's going to be close. Yes, it does go up, and he needs to take that out ASAP. But T1 spam now streaming in from Lu Xun. You can see he's got 2 factories sitting at the top of that island. Does look like Nefarious is going to have trouble holding this. He's invested so much into air that he might be running, but he has teched up to T2 already, so we can see an early gunship coming out from Nefarious. It's a very, very early tech. Obviously you can afford to do this kind of thing because it's a much larger map than what you usually see played on competitive matches, and obviously there's a lot more mass as well, which allows you to do these kind of things. So very, very interesting tech upgrade there from Nefarious, just trying to see off this Mantis spam from Lu Xun. Shouldn't have too much trouble now that these gunships have landed. More engineers coming across from Nefarious, definitely not wanting to yield this island. Over on the left hand side we've got Mantis spam coming in from Lu Xun, putting pressure on this 1 T1 factory and the commander. He's not going to win that battle against the commander, but he might do enough to get these mass points taken out of commission, where he really needs to deal with that factory as well, limit the amount of build power that commander can get. But over here on the right you see so many gunships out already for Nefarious. Talking about 7, 8 on the field. He's really pumping them out. No, just 7 for the moment. But that is that's going to cause a serious headache for Lu Xun. You can see he's been trying to build some T1 anti-air to deal with it. That's going to get mopped up pretty nicely, I imagine. Deciding not to expose any more than he has to, but I mean, Nefarious definitely with air superiority now. He's gone very, very heavily invested in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 air factories, one of them T2, all the rest pumping out interceptors. Meanwhile on the left island there's quite the spam. You can see 5 ground factories out for Lu Xun, who's really, really concentrating on pumping out that spam. This factory now looking in dire jeopardy. For the moment he's just building up forces, waiting till he's got enough, and at some point I imagine I don't imagine he's going to be able to hold this. The commander is probably going to have to withdraw, especially since Luzon is building a whole row of point defense, T1 point defense, that's going to scale up to the middle of this island. Let's just see the decision-making abilities on this left island for the commander. Now electing to bring across his air force. Very, very sensible move, I think. But Luzon anticipating this move, bringing across his own to cover. The question is, who's got the more interceptors? I think it's probably going to be Nefarious. Nefarious now taking a lot of damage, down to 5,000 hit points. Really needs to get on a march now. Trying to deal all the damage he can, but now the gunships arrive, going to relieve some of that pressure. You can see Luzon seems to be out of interceptors. He's got a few pumping out here, obviously at a nice rate, but the main horde has been pushed aside or dealt with. So Nefarious survives for the moment. And this is problems now for this little base that's been set up by Luzon, because at the moment he doesn't really have any counter for these gunships. He is spamming out a tremendous amount of interceptors now. You can see the amount of assistance these air factories have on them. Lots and lots of T1 engineers trying to beef up that production. On the right hand side, it does not look like it's going particularly well for Luzon. It looks like he's heavily invested on this attack on the left hand side. And interesting, what looked like an early piece of ground superiority to Luzon is kind of changing because of this play by Nefarious, this gunship play. Lots and lots of mobile damage on a map like this, slightly larger with lots of lumpy terrain and sea. It's a nice idea to go for heavy air power. It's a lot of T1 anti-air, but there's so many gunships on the field now for Nefarious. 15 in the local area. These factories look like they may be about to go down. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 goes down, and that will be the end, I think, of this little incursion by Luzon on the left-hand side. Nefarious getting an upgrade and some assistance from his engineers. But meanwhile, we've got some Tech 2 Wagners from Luzon. He's managed to sneak them across the water. Obviously, they are amphibious. One of the only amphibious Tech 2 units that do go across the bottom instead of float across the top, if not the only, in fact. But so many gunships, they're just not going to get any kind of penetration there. I do not believe they're going to get dealt with pretty darn efficiently. Few more on this right island, and it really seems like this T2 gunship strategy from Nefarious is paying off. But you never really know on this kind of size of map. You can see Luzon focusing on macro for the now. He's just working on T2 extractors, mass storage, and of course power T2 and T3. But things not looking particularly good for Luzon at the moment. Slight RT war going on this right hand side, but it does look like Nefarious has the better of that island too. So it really does look like, in terms of control, Luzon is down to 2 islands. Nefarious sitting on 4. Let's take a look at the economies. Nefarious is sitting on around the 100 around the 63 mark. Luzon is sitting on the 75 mark. So despite being on less, Nefarious yet to make use of all of the resources he has available to him. Obviously a few mass points here and there, even on this island, but more Wagners coming across from Luzon. Now he's also built a naval factory. It's still at Tech 1, but it is upgrading to Tech 2. Gunships now working on this forward island, and it really looks like Luzon needs to find a counter to this. He has teched up to Tech 3 air superiority. That will do it, but my God, look at this, Luzon. Whoever can you be? There's so much confusion about who this guy is. But just no answer. He is being Nefarious to his very name. Gunships now finishing off. So this island is now, looks like it's pretty in control for Nefarious, but I do like the tech switch up to T3. That really was the only maneuver Luzon can make, and a lot of gunships and interceptors going down now for Nefarious on that top island. He's still working on T2 and T1 interceptors, T2 gunships. A lot of engineers coming across in their transport to what looks like the left island. Or is he making a grab for the top one? He is actually making a grab. Will this get noticed by Luzon? It'll probably pop up on the radar if he's got coverage. He hasn't. He's got plenty of power, so he needs to work on his radar coverage because he looks like he's going to miss this. It's all a question of whether or not these ASFs stray past. They don't. So it looks like these engineers are going to land safely. That could cause headaches if that's not dealt with swiftly. But really early ASF pressure from Luzon. Very nice counter to these gunships. That's kind of smacked Nefarious' strategy. So tide turning once again, I feel. But now Nefarious pushing across with mobile light artillery onto Luzon's main island. I don't necessarily know if it's going to get very far. Luzon now with air superiority is working with T1 bombers. Nice, simple, cheap option to deal with this. Doesn't look like those artillery are going to get to do much damage. They might take out a hydrocarbon, maybe a mass extractor, something like that. But look at the amount of ASFs on the field now for Luzon. Definitely controlling the skies, and that could be problems for Nefarious. That was his key strategy. He's going to have to tech up or change up. That naval factory now at T2 and working on a cruiser, I do believe. That could be interesting, but like I said earlier, cruisers not quite as effective on this map as they can be on other maps. Certainly not the Cybran ones. Maybe a Governor or a Seraphim cruiser would be more use, because looking at TAC missiles much better than laser or plasma projectile style weapons, because obviously they'll go up and around the cliffs. But Luzon just hovering his ASFs over his opponent's air factory, which is now up to T3 but still producing T2 units. But this Strat Bomber just taking out so much stuff, up to 36 kills already, being such a pain in the proverbial ass. T2 power gens going down all over the house, 3 gone. He really wants to deal with this T3 fusion before it gets up. So many engineers bite the dust on that run. It's now up to 49, and this Strat Bomber has definitely earned its keep. One more run should finish off that fusion before it gets up, but they have got Nefarious has got a T3 anti-air defense turret up, so that will be focusing. He's decided to switch up, go for the other base, put some damage on there. 51 kills now for this Strat Bomber, so much damage. .63 kills, and that's just gonna, because he doesn't have any answer for it, that's just gonna keep climbing and climbing until that bomber gets shot down. It's like he's now 5 stars, and this is all kinds of headaches for Nefarious now. He needs to find an answer for this. He has teched up to T3, but obviously without the sufficient power to start spamming out those fighters, he really can't start work on them. Still working on T3 engineers, what looks like, trying to get his power sorted out so he can actually make a fight of this. But very nice timing attack from Luzon. Knew he had air superiority, knew he was a tech above Nefarious, and I think on a map like this, you can get away with that kind of thing. You get this kind of back and forth play, you yield a bit of map control because one player goes for heavier spam on an earlier tech while you're teching up, and then of course it swings back again. Really interesting play. That's why I'm so happy that this map got chosen for the first round of the Inver Cup. It wasn't quite such a popular choice for the players because it is longer, more drawn out matches, but certainly from a caster's point of view, and I think from an audience perspective, it's a lot more interesting to watch. T2 gunships now wailing away on this left base, and it's a little bit of a roll in reverse, but however this time Nefarious does have ASFs of his own, and they're going to pick off all of those before they go down. Cruiser now going to work on the fringes with one interceptor landed on the back of it. He's just chilling there, having a relaxing time. He's completely useless now that there's T3 on the field, so he's like, I'm gonna stay here. It's fine. Nefarious electing to hide his comm in the water, obviously fearful of some kind of Strat Bomber rush from Luzon. being as he was getting so pummeled by one earlier. T2 gunships out again for Luzon, putting fire on this firebase, wanting to take out this T2 mass. There's a lot of T1 anti-air on the field, but not really cutting the mustard, as they say, at this stage in the game. Lots and lots of T1 scout planes going over for Nefarious. When we get a decent look at everything that's over here, it does look like he's pretty aware. He's obviously just trying to make sure there's no special weapons production or anything that can kill him off completely going on. Now working on quite a lot of land factory spam, Nefarious, so electing to go for some kind of ground rush, probably going to work up to some T3 siege tanks, but needs to deal with this Wagner. He's been sitting here wailing on this mass point, and it looks like he's going to pick it up. Incredibly irritating that for Nefarious, but nothing he could do really. Strat bomb is now going to work on this side island with only 16 kills compared to the 64 that other one had, but I'm guessing that's probably been shot down by now. I do feel it probably would have been advantageous for him to carry on focusing on this power generator. Obviously he wanted to maximize the damage of that particular strat bomber, but it would have held up the production of the next facility, and you keep your opponent on no power, as he literally was, or at least no power comparatively, to move up to T3 ASFs, and Nefarious would have absolutely no answer for this T3 tech upgrade that Luzon has managed to squeeze out first. So many more ASFs on the field for Luzon, and this is always a problem. He can't seem to get ahead in the ASF game. Luzon very unlikely to stop production of his ASFs now, and despite map control still kind of being in the hands of Nefarious, you certainly see he's got more of the islands. If we take a look at the economy, he looks like he's sitting on 187, whereas Luzon is sitting on 152, so not a huge disparity between them. Obviously Luzon is making better use of the mass he's sitting on up here that has been unchallenged. He's probably upgraded a lot more. He's sitting on, all of his base extractors are sitting on T3, whereas down here we've got T2s all around for Nefarious. Obviously he's been under significant amounts of pressure, unable to do much about it, but Wagner's now in the right hand side of the island main base for Luzon, and they're going to finish this off once and for all, I do believe, and that will wrestle control from Nefarious of this island back into Luzon's hand, while at the same time another cruiser coming out, and he's just going to park that between the islands, prevent any kind of land reinforcements from coming across, and you really feel like the momentum has swung into Luzon's favour. More power in production over here for Nefarious. Finally got some gunships out to deal with this Wagner that's been so annoying. God knows how many engineers he's picked off. He's got 9 kills. Still no special weapons tech in production for Luzon. But strat working so nicely for him. Nefarious has got a few artillery moving in here for harass on this right island, again not wanting to yield it. However, I'm not sure how effective that's going to be, especially not with a whole load of crosshairs in the air over the island, and with a whole bunch of Wagners bearing down on him at the same time. That's going to be problems for him. Still having power issues, Nefarious. Desperately wanting to keep this shielding alive while at the same time get ahead in the air game. Still focusing so many engineers. My goodness. 214 engineers on this main island for Nefarious. 350 in total. Extraordinary. I'm not sure he needs that many to accomplish what he needs to do. Wagner's coming in now, though, are going to take out a lot of them. Is he going to be able to protect these factories? These power plants? I'm not sure he is. He's desperately trying to spam up T2. Oh, it looks like he might just get enough time. He's got some T2 gunships on them, but Luzon quickly in with his ASFs to fend that off. Lots of strat bombs coming in now. Huge collateral damage being caused, taking out so many engineers. Those strat bombers really paying off for Luzon. So much build power going up with every bomb. Just this relentless barrage not allowing Nefarious to take a breath, and he's airlifting bricks in now. Will he manage to land it is the question. No, he will not. That will get picked off. That was a little ambitious, being as there's a few T3 anti-air in there. Nefarious wisely working out that that was going to be a problem. Excuse me. But a few bricks now on the field, just kind of wandering around, posturing in different places. A few Wagners still alive down here. It would be really nice if Luzon could snipe some of these power facilities, judging by the amount of problems that Nefarious has been having. Still working on trying to get control of this island, now firmly in control of this one. Amazingly, Nefarious still holds on to this side island and is now producing siege tanks in a reasonable number. And that could be a problem, actually, for Luzon. If he doesn't work out a counter, you can't really just rely on strat bombers, especially not with units that are amphibious and on islands that are so close to the water. Needs to work perhaps on getting some T3 gunships in the air. Super fast, spanning up of that Monkey Lord from Luzon in very shapely form, working out on an anti-nuke now. Obviously wary of any kind of emergency strat that he hasn't been able to spot from Nefarious. Do excuse me, just going to take a quick sip of water. But yep, it does seem like Nefarious has managed to take up to a different strat. He's bringing these siege tanks across now, and Luzon has to be careful. He's literally got nothing on this island of any kind of defensive purpose. He's pumping out the occasional Wagner that's going around. That's just going to lose out. It is going to manage to get into the water before those T3 tanks emerge. They do have torpedoes, obviously, but not doing enough sustained damage to take it out. T3 tanks now making landfall. There is a brick up here for Luzon. Airlifted that in at the right amount of time, but I'm sure it's going to have enough to take out all three of these. You see just how good bricks are. It nearly took that out while taking three of them on. So tanky. But Luzon still wanting to know who the hell Nefarious is. The fact that he's not yielding yet, and this is taking him so long while seemingly being in control this whole time. And the response is nothing. So Nefarious still not yielding any information on who he actually is. And now moving these tanks into this top section, and there are some T1 PD walls shielding nicely. And a Cerberus up for Luzon. That's going to go down reasonably quickly, but two of the tanks go down, and the T3 gunship into the air. And that is the end of that little attack, but there are a few more coming across, perhaps going for his main island. Monkey Lord is now working his way across to the main base. You can see Luzon has a few cruisers on there, but they're just being Cybrin, just not able to do enough damage. Would have been interesting actually if he'd have pumped out a few destroyers. He could have just strutted them up onto the land, because Cybrin are imber like that. Lots of people will probably be yelling at this point. Battleship now on the field for Luzon, so the heavy tech definitely in Luzon's favour. And do beg your pardon, he's managed to spam up a nuclear missile launcher, so that literally has just gone up. You can see progress only just starting for Luzon, who's having major power issues now. He needs to get that sorted out. However, I think this could be the final nail in the coffin for Nefarious. We will see how well he deals with this Monkey Lord. Does he have Omni cover? Yes, he does. He does see it now. And that is the most annoying thing in the world. It's the first thing you see from Monkey Lords, those little bits of red whatever they are coming in, pew pew pew, and it's like, I'm dead. I don't have anything to deal with that. And this is going to be the end of all of Nefarious's power. It's just going to use all of the T1 engineers to rank up as quickly as possible, up to 60 kills already. It's going to step on a bunch of them. And Nefarious calls it GG and queues out. Well, interesting game there, definitely, and if that's the sort of level of play that's in store for us with the actual Imber Cup, I am looking forward to it. I am going to go away for 2 weeks, unfortunately, so I'm going to miss a bunch of it, but nevertheless, TA for Life will be around to handle all your casting needs, and I'm sure it will be very, very exciting, and I will catch you guys when I get back. I'm going to try and get a few more casts out before I go, so stay tuned and look forward to those. And if you haven't already, please guys do like and subscribe. I will be certainly getting as many out as I can before I go, but when I get back I am going to continue to keep making these casts. The community seems to be going pretty healthily at the moment. Certainly at the weekend we were up to, I think it was 375 viewers I counted. I don't know if that was its peak, but that's certainly the most I've seen on FAF so far to date. So things looking good for the future, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.